All aboard, it's Jang here with a look at the Playmobil Express Train Car from 1997. And this was offered up as an option, an additional thing that you could buy to add to the original RCE, the original radio control express train. It would also fit in perfectly with the second version of the RCE that they did that had the lights in it and a slightly different color scheme, but this is really designed to fit perfectly with the color scheme of the original one. Now this is very awkward looking. It comes with one Jacob's bogie, which is a truck section that allows you to connect between two cars that are going to use the same wheels. It doesn't come with the other side because it didn't need it. So in order just to display this right here by itself, I'm going to borrow the motor block from my RCE that I reviewed and get that in there. There we go. So now it'll actually stand up the way that it's supposed to. Now things will start to make a little bit more sense, and I will show this in context actually in the train. But this has space for 4 passengers at each end, and it's done just in the exact same way as the normal cars were on the original RCE train itself. So you've just got those kind of school bus yellow colored seats and then a table for each pair of seats. But most of the space of the car is taken up by these strange garage door sections, which aren't for passengers. And if you look on the side there, they actually tell you what they are for. They're for bicycles and for very, very, very small cars. Once upon a time, Playmobil made a car that looked just like that. Set number, I believe it was 3069, if I'm remembering that correctly. For right now, it would just barely fit in there. They no longer, as of the time of this video, make a car that's that small. The smallest car that they make is this one here, which is a good deal larger than that. And it can fit in between there, but then it just stops just like that. So this ends up, for now, for today, if you don't have that original size of small car, they also made a fire version of it, then you can just fit bicycles in there. And they do include a couple of bicycles with riders. So this is an adult-sized one with the red color. It has a little stand there as well that'll allow you to have the thing standing up. And they also include this child-sized little BMX bike. Also has its stand and some little plastic composite wheels. It kind of looks appropriate for its day. Maybe a little bit older. I had a bike that had a very similar design to that. It was an old Huffy back in the day, but you can fit these in there, and the little slots are there to hold the tires. Of course, you're not going to fit them in there with the people on there, but they give you 2 bays, 2 sections, so you can fit a total of 8 bikes into this thing. So it's a big, major bicycle carrier for folks who are really into Playmobil bikes. The set also came with one of these ramps, which would fit right up to the base deck if you actually had this on rails. So you put this directly on the ground, and then with the height of the rails, it would lift up the car enough so that you'd be able to drive right in there. And this is one of those standardized ones that can be hooked up to other things because it just uses the regular System X style of connections. And I got this used, so all the little red stuff is just from previous owners who've had fun with the thing. Here's a look at the figures just by themselves. One adult male and one female child. Both of them have safety helmets, of course, and they also include one adult-sized backpack, which is a nice little 2-piece unit. And the child has a jacket on, which is also a removable thing if you don't want to have that on there and just want to leave just the plain lavender shirt underneath. The car is long. In fact, I think it may be the longest individual piece of rolling stock that Playmobil ever made. But it goes pretty nicely with the rest of the train. It kind of flows together pretty well. I do wish that they had included more seats there, like maybe if it just held 4 bikes and then had an additional 4 regular passenger seats. I think that would have made a little bit more sense. But that's just my personal opinion on it, of course. I just don't feel like there's that much need for that many bikes to be carried around in relation to the number of figures that are out there to be transported. Now, because of the length of the car, you may have needed to do a little bit of adjustment to layouts just in terms of how close you got buildings and structures and trees. I actually had to move one of the trees that I had placed that had enough clearance for all of my other cars, but this one just has that extra length that just kind of overlaps, especially on the insides of turns a little bit extra. But this does look very smooth and sleek going around. When it was in the studio, it kind of looked like it was kind of rocking back and forth quite a bit, but when it's actually in motion, there's a little bit of tension on the joints there. It becomes relatively steady, but gosh, it really does add a lot to the overall length of your RCE train when you compare this just to the base level train itself. So that's it for my look at the Express Train Car just by itself. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to have a chance to talk to you again soon in the next video.